I'm fine with that decision.
Well, it wasn't like it. Walking around the door. Who's that? From Chin down there. Give me an extra two. I just moved first. How are you?
Front, back, good, how are you?
But I hope they find somebody. Well, I mean, there's no reason to.
Well, others want to keep your sanity.
Well, yeah, now you got it. Start them out young. Start them out young. We just need to keep them off.
And all I know is it didn't stay off long enough because you didn't go home. Oh, Steve, you can make it
You can say, get settled in. You're good. Right.
I'm pretty good shape.
I'll let you get settled before we start. Good. We'll go ahead and call our meeting to the order for the month of March 2021. If everyone will please rise and join as I have a special guest this evening, Mr. Larry Cox, a former county commissioner here in Allegheny County and educator, my 6th grade teacher. He's going to lead us in the pledge.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Appreciate that. Appreciate your service to our community and our educational system. Thank you for everything. And before you, as our council members, you have the approval of the agenda. If there's any additions to the agenda, I'll entertain those suggestions now. I do have a couple of announcements that will be at the very end, and announcements only. So is there any other business that needs to be added to the agenda at this time?
Mayor, I have one item of business that, due to an administrative oversight on my part, I left off, and it is the sale of personal property that the council approved last meeting.
Okay. We'll put that under other business, and that'll be later on in our meeting. Before you have the minutes of our regular meeting of February 2nd, 2021, and the joint meeting with the commissioners of Allegheny County on January 25th. I'll give you a second to look over those if you need to, and then I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Mayor, if you wouldn't mind, and no difference to you, Miss Peggy, you do an excellent job, but in the future, if you would put who votes yea and who votes nay.
Okay.
Because when I vote one way or another way, I want people to know it. I'm just that vain. But thank you for that.
Okay.
Okay. So we have that. I have a motion to approve and a second by John Brady. Any discussion? Show of hands for that. 5-0 on the approval of minutes. This time in our meeting, I'll open up the floor for public comments. Public comments are on the agenda items tonight only at this time. If you will, if you have anything that you'd like to say, you may approach the podium, state your name, and I'll give you 3 minutes for your public comment. There being no movement, we'll move right on into our recognition for this evening. At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. John Cox to meet me at the podium. Something that we like to do here in the town of Sparta is recognize great achievements. And on behalf of the citizens of our town and our town council that sits before you, John would like to take this opportunity to recognize you for your achievement in winning double bronze medals in the 1A, 2A North Carolina High School Athletic Association swim competition, 200-yard individual medley, and 100-yard breaststroke, places third in the state. Something that has never happened up here in Allegheny County. And we want to congratulate you and present this as a token of our appreciation and thank you for your efforts in that competition. Good. We also had somebody else with Allegheny ties, even though she plays for the enemy Elkin. Well, John Brady's granddaughter also was a champion down there. Am I right, John?
Correct.
So we want to give her a good shout out right there. His granddaughter also competed in those events. John, you got anything you want to say?
I'm just thankful for everybody that's gotten me to where I'm at today, and I'm excited to start putting more work in the pool so I can get better.
Michael Phelps' record is in danger. I'm just saying. There we go. Thank you, John. Appreciate you. And if you guys would like to go ahead and if you need to leave, you can. I'll give you a chance there to scoot out before we start any further business. Thank you guys for coming. Appreciate that. Up next is agenda item number 6 on our agenda tonight, presentation to the council from the Allegheny Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Lisa Bottomley.
Good evening. I just want to say a few words, and then I'm going to actually hand over the small presentation we have to Ricky Brown, who is our board chair. Just wanted to let you know that things are going well at the Chamber of Commerce. We have, we're getting new members every month, so we're very excited about that. Our newest members are Spartan Pressure Washing and Parker's Productions. And we've actually had quite a few visitors lately. Most of them are coming up, visiting, saying, I have a home here, we're getting ready to move here, or we just moved here, we just bought buildings here, we're going to, try to start a business here. So a lot of people coming up, a lot of people visiting, a lot of people getting to know Allegheny County, which only enforces, our outlook as far as how much marketing we need to do for Allegheny County, and while also just maintaining our brand as a mountain community with a lot of great outdoor activities for people. Our downtown area really capitalizing on the new streetscape. So all of that enforces where we're going with this new organization around economic development, helping our small businesses, bringing new businesses in. And just want to let you also know that we, if any of you, we have a position posted at the Chamber of Commerce right now in the Visitor Center. We are hiring for a Visitor Center coordinator. That position is posted on Facebook and NC Works and has been posted in the paper. So if you know of anyone who might be interested in it, it's a part-time position, please send them our way or have them send me an email. We'd be glad to entertain their resume. And we'll be running that position for about another week and a half before we close that down and start interviewing. Now I'm going to turn it over to Ricky Brown to talk about our new organization update.
Thank you, everybody. Glad to be with you tonight. I want to also, before I start, thank Lisa Bottomley. Lisa's done a really, really good job in her role as leader of our Allegheny Chamber. And we couldn't be more proud of what she has done in terms of working in a very difficult time. If you all remember, she came on board March 1st, ushering in with COVID-19 and trying to hold all this thing together, including putting together a new organization that I'm going to talk a little bit tonight. So I really would like to thank Lisa Bottomley for the great work she has done. So just real quick, and I'll be brief because I know you got a lot of other things on your agenda. But when we came several months ago, we talked about a new organization where we were going to combine the Chamber and the SRC into one new organization called the Allegheny Chamber for Economic Development and Tourism. As we move forward, and that was going to be a 501c3. So we've been doing a lot of work on that, and we're going to twist just a little how we end up, but yet still be focused on the very same thing that we talked about then. So I'll talk about that. So during these last number of months, we've been doing the work of the Chamber and the SRC. So none of the work has stopped. We've been moving ahead, just as Lisa has talked about, advertising, the community, marketing the community. The SRC has been engaged in Halloween and Christmas and other events. So we've been doing the work of the two organizations. We've been also putting those organizations together. As you all know, Brian Edwards, who used to sit in that seat, is now our new president for the organization. We got him on board, and as of March 1st, he's effectively full-time now. In addition, we've united the boards. We have looked at our bylaws, looked at our policies, our vision, mission, and values. All of those things have been done, including some very specific work. We were engaged with the Wilkes Community College on a very important grant opportunity with Golden Leaf that would allow us to locate a technical learning hub here in Sparta that would serve not only Allegheny County, but Ashe and Wilkes County. So a combination with the college and our local community with an opportunity to really put us on the map to leverage our broadband capacity. We've been working on that. We've been working on the historic district preservation efforts, and that is now starting. And soon we will be starting on an effort called creative placemaking that will allow us to really focus on Sparta and primarily Sparta as to what it can be in the future. A new committee is being formed of a very diverse group of citizens, and we think it's going to do a really good job of identifying things that we might can do in the future in concert with this new organization. In addition, as we go forward with that, we think that all of those things will be very important to the community, not only Sparta, but also broadly Allegheny County. Now, as we move forward, we had to spend a lot of time thinking about the legal structure. And what we ultimately came to a conclusion in concert with our legal folks is that a single 501c3 organization might not be the best structure. It would have put potentially at risk donors to have a IRS issue with their tax deductibility of their contribution to the organization when you start mixing particularly advertising and marketing with economic development. So we went out and looked at a number of communities, Winston-Salem. We also looked at Sanford, and we looked at Alamance County, Burlington, and looked at how they had structured an organization similar to ours. And what they have is effectively a 501c6, the chamber, and a 501c3 foundation. We have both of those structures today. The Allegheny Chamber is a 501c6. The SRC was a 501c3. So we're going to maintain these two structures. We're going to change the name of our Chamber of Commerce to the Allegheny Chamber for Economic Development, and we're going to name the Sparta Revitalization Committee. It will be called the Allegheny Economic Development Alliance. We'll have a 501c3 that donations can be made to for the purpose of funding economic development, both broadly and through the chamber organization. And that organization will clearly be tax deductible for investors. The chamber will continue to do its work with its member investors, as well as focusing on economic development. That structure is a much more safe structure. It does not change the agenda of our organization. The organization structure is only being changed, but the agenda is the same. We're focusing on economic development and the data that you all are going to want to see if it's working. The economic marketing and advertising for our county and state and our town. We're going to be focused on the same kind of events, the Mountain Heritage Festival, parades, et cetera, et cetera. And we're going to focus on existing industry, entrepreneurs, agriculture, small business, and merchants. And you all have seen all of that in the past when you made your endorsement of this organization, which we appreciate so much. So as we move forward, that work has begun in earnest with Brian on board full time and with Lisa now moving more toward the advertising and marketing role. And now that we get our new person, when we were here before, we were looking for a person. We're now looking for two people for the organization. But the key leadership is in place. Our structure is now sound, and we are moving forward. So as of March 1st, we are declaring that we are a new organization moving forward. Brian at the helm, Lisa providing absolutely phenomenal support on our marketing and advertising. So we're up and ready for business. But as I said earlier, we have not shied away from business. We've been doing it, and we've been working very hard on behalf of our community, and we're going to continue to do that. And with your support, we're going to continue to make that happen. You might wonder, and this is one of the things we found in our studying from a legal perspective, why would you say that economic development is a charitable activity? In fact, what we're finding is the IRS is really looking at economic development as a charitable activity. And the reason it is, it's about lowering the burden of government. It's about community betterment. It's about making our community better than it is today. And when you look at our community with its low wage rate, our high poverty, our schools systems with reduced and free lunch, we fit that community that says economic development is vital as a charitable activity to make us better. So the IRS is recognizing that. Other communities like ours have recognized that. And now we are going down that same path. And we think it's the right structure. We've got the right people, and we're going to work very hard. So we're looking for your support. We continue to thank you for that. We've made this same presentation to the county. We're looking for their support. They're clearly behind us. We know you are. And we're going to work together to make Sparta and Allegheny County the very best it can be, to leverage on our investments in the streetscape, to leverage our investments in all kinds of activities that we're already working on. So it's an exciting time, and we look forward to your support and help. Thank you very much for a chance to give you an update on our activities.
Mr.
Thank you.
Brown?
Yes, ma'am.
Just a quick question.
Yes.
You mentioned the creative placemaking, which I think originated more or less as a concept down in Silva County in Silva in Jackson County, North Carolina.
This whole notion of creative placemaking really actually started by a gentleman named Zachary Manheimer out in Iowa.
Okay.
He has done this now all over the country.
Right.
So he brings a tremendous amount of expertise, and this effort is being funded both in West Jefferson and here with Blue Ridge Energy.
Which is good, but I did read an interesting
And they may have done that. I'm just not familiar with all the
They,
places. But
in our league magazine from the municipal league, they were talking about they did it at Silva, and the whole thing was they embraced it. Obviously, it wasn't original, but their whole point was we're going to have the people that are here are our best. Word of mouth is our best advertising.
Yes.
Is the cornerstone of it, and so they did everything so that people would basically be promoting. And of course, they got a lot of trout streams, and they're right next to Nattahala and that sort of thing. But it did hinge a whole lot on people promoting what we have, which is basically what you're going to do.
Yep.
Love the idea about economic development being a charitable thing. We cannot move forward, and I've touched on this before, unless we have private investment and we have people investing. So that's wonderful. That's brilliant. And certainly a way to go, because we do want to take as much burden off the local government as we can. So that's a great thing, and I think there's a lot of money out there to do those types of things. I did have a couple of people have mentioned to me, and this is just something to throw out. You all can certainly, you're doing a lot of things in a lot of directions, but a buzzword that's been thrown out at me is gentrification. Now, gentrification, according to the dictionary, is a process whereby the character of a poor area is changed by wealthy people moving in, improving housing, and all attracting new business, typically displacing the current inhabitants. Well, I don't think that that's what you all are trying to do at all, but that word has come up, and so it might be something you can keep in mind.
Yeah.
That, and I think you can speak to that tonight. You're not trying to displace local people.
No.
You're not trying to flip the dynamic.
Mhm.
But that's something that,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of people that live here.
That's right.
And that's been brought up to me, and I said, well, that's a great question. And my only other comment, certainly, two examples. There's a gentleman that works at the Speedway, and I noticed him in there late in the evenings, and I asked him, are you stuck here every Sunday night? He says, well, I'm working 2 jobs. And hardworking young man, probably late 20s, and he's trying to make it here. And of course, you mentioned the poverty, which this is just a couple examples. They're struggling to try to make ends meet. Another not a young man, he's younger than me, but he works for Vanoy Flags Traffic. And he works for Vanoy
Okay, yeah.
Flags Traffic. He lives here. He lives out in the county, inherited his house when his parents passed. And he's going to work every day, terrible weather. It's a very dangerous job. He helped us just did a super job up here doing streetscape, really put his heart and soul into it. Talked to him the other day, he says, my biggest concern is how am I going to pay my taxes?
Mm-hmm.
So there's, you've got this reval, and of course the people in Sparta, when the reval hits, that means the town tax, the county tax are going up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to continue to be the cheerleader, if you will, or the advocate for those people, because these are people I talk to and these are concerns I have. So back to your point of the economic development being charitable, wonderful.
Yeah.
And I'll shut up. I'm sure some of the others maybe have something to say.
Well, I will respond just to very briefly is that your point is a very valid one. And what our effort is, and we've said this all along, is to try to lift up everyone, not to exclude. If we can bring things in that can provide better jobs, if we can bring things in that can provide opportunities for people to learn and be able to move from one opportunity to another to make them a little better, to get our pie a little bigger and everybody get a little bit of that pie as we move forward. That's what this effort is. It's not about excluding somebody or running somebody off, because this is our community and we need to make it better for everybody. So the point is a good one, but this effort is going to be the kind of thing that we need to do to identify. You mentioned about our strengths, find out what they are, really know how to communicate those to the broader community so that we can leverage them so that our whole community can go along with it, so that when things are more positive, incomes go up, opportunities go up, our school education system goes up. So it's all linked together, Millie. We're going to try really hard to not let that happen. And I think we can do that. I think we can bring everybody along. And that's certainly going to be our effort. So thank you for that point.
Thank you.
Other questions? I'd be glad to take.
Does anybody have any other questions?
We just commend you for doing a good job.
Well, thank you. And we appreciate the partnership, and all of us together can make this work. And to the betterment of our community, just as you talk, every citizen can be improved by this.
I'm going to add this, that there are jobs that are appearing in our county and in our town. And some folks just need to get out and look, because there's help wanted signs in many, many windows throughout our county and our town right now.
True.
So there's work out there to be done. It may not be the most exhilarating work that you've ever participated in, but it does provide a paycheck. I want to just reiterate this right here. We're coming out of this COVID very, very soon. We're making progress. States are starting to open up. The governor in North Carolina has backed off some of the mandates that we have here in North Carolina. So it's going to be a time when the door is open and we need a big boom so we can draw people here. We're going to have this. We need things in place.
That's what we're doing.
And advertising, and we have to have our merchants ready for the boom, and we can't miss the opportunity. That's the whole key. And that's, you talk about economic development,
What it is.
when it busts loose, it's going to bust loose, and we got to be ready for it.
That's right.
So thank you for
Thank you
your
very
efforts.
much.
I appreciate that.
Appreciate that. Thanks, everybody.
Up next, we have a special guest here from the Allegheny County Rescue Squad, Chief Jason Long. And before he starts in on his presentation, I just think I want to, on behalf of the citizens of this town council members here, citizens of Allegheny County, we want to thank you, the Rescue Squad, and all you guys for what you do for our community. And as I sit and I listen to those scanners and those calls that you guys go on, it's amazing what you do. And on behalf of all the citizens of this county, thank you.
Thank you. Just tell a little bit about myself. My name is Jason Long, Allegheny native. I want to thank the town council, manager, and mayor for the opportunity to speak tonight. We're not here asking for money, so we'll get that out of the way. I feel like I think the public needs to know where our money goes, since they donate the money and keep us, and the town allocates a certain percentage, so you should know where your money's going. I had the same presentation last month with the county. We are county funded, so anyway, I'll get right into it. To tell you a little bit about the squad, We have 22 members, 9 EMTs, 6 paramedics, 1 advanced EMT, and 10 technical rescuers, along with 6 divers. State requires 4 paramedics to be ALS certified and 8 technical rescuers to keep our doors open. There's many different specialty classes with the rescue squad. You got technical rescue, high angle rescue, wilderness search, swift water rescue, agriculture rescue, vehicle extrication, trench rescue, confined space, structure collapse, and dive. We also provide advanced life support and a basic life support services to the county. We're the primary backup for the Allegheny County Paid EMS service. Tell a little bit about that. They have 2 trucks in service, the county does. When they go out on calls and they're on calls or transporting out of the county, we're automatically paged to be on active standby. And which means 2 members have to go to the squad and be prepared for the next call. To be a paramedic, it's 560 hours of training. Basic EMTs, 240 hours of training. All requirements continuing education, all require continuing education monthly. Each rescue certification requires special additional equipment. The state requires, in North Carolina, requires 36 hours a year for training for rescue departments as well as fire departments. It will take 528 hours to get all state certifications except dive. With most departments meeting once a month on average of 3 hours a night, it would take 176 months or 14 and a half years to complete all training. Some months we spend 40 hours a month just in training the rescue squad. A lot of citizens in Allegheny County do not understand what we do, and they think we're part of the paid county EMS system. But we are 100% volunteer. We work Monday through Friday at our jobs, at our home, with our families when we're dispatched out. With members losing good pay and missing their child's first birthday to help those in need, you may ask, why would you do it? Because we know we're a valuable part of the community. We feel we have a purpose, and once you do it, you're hooked for life because this is our home, and we pledge to protect it. Whether it be someone that has overturned a kayak in the New River, needing rescue from rising flood waters, the swift water team will be deployed, or from the same person being seen going under the water, never resurfacing, our dive team will be deployed. Whether it be a rock climber that has run into problems 400 foot down a stone mountain, our high angle team will be ready. To an ice rock climber on ice rock on the Blue Ridge Parkway that has slipped and fell 200 feet and succumbed to their injuries, our high angle ice team will be ready. Whether it be a motor vehicle accident with one or more persons trapped and unable to escape, our heavy rescue technical rescuers will be ready. To a motor vehicle accident is ran off 21 Mountain, 100 feet, and it's unsafe to gain access to vehicles by foot, our rope rescuers will be ready to rappel rescuers down to the patients. Whether it be an agriculture accident on many of our farms, our rescuers will be ready. To a structure collapse from a national disaster, to a maintenance worker trapped in a pipe, our confined space rescuers will be ready. To a multi-jurisdiction search for a lost or injured hiker, our search and rescue team will be ready. To firefighters battling a raging fire, our team will be ready to rehab and monitor safety of our fellow men and women who are our brothers and sisters. As a primary backup for county EMS, our ALS ambulance on standby for the next 911 call or standing by at a football team, our EMTs and paramedics will be ready. All this, we cover 237 square miles of coverage, the entire county, not just the district. 11,000 plus citizens from one base with no tax-based income, and we do it all for free. Allegheny County Rescue Squad was dispatched in 2020 to 1,113 calls, 384 active standbys for our county paid EMS that were out of service. Some were 24 hours at a time. The squad members spent 768 hours on standby, averaged 32 active standbys a month, and the rescue squad transported 24 patients to hospitals out of the 44 times they were chosen to respond with our ambulance. We do not bill anyone for our services, and we have to replace everything we use on our calls. Meds, IV supplies, down to a Band-Aid, all comes out of the rescue squad's pocket. With an average of $14,000 a year for 2 ambulances, and with COVID, we have spent an extra $2,500 just in extra personal protective equipment to help protect our members and our loved ones. Squad members spent over 2,500 hours of combined training, work details, and calls in 2020. For the total year of 2020, we spent $133,874.88. With fundraising being wiped out due to COVID, our funds have greatly been reduced. If it was not for the great citizens, the property owners of Allegheny County, and the generous donations, we may very well be in a different position today. And as chief, I would like for the town budget team to look long and hard into the decisions they make with our budget. Anything will be greatly appreciated. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions or comments? Anybody?
I hope people hear what you just said about what y'all do. Because I don't think most of the people in this county have any inkling.
You're correct. A lot of people that we talk to, they don't understand that. They think we're just part of the county paid people. I can give you a little rundown. Since 2021, January, we had 105 calls, 26 active standbys for the county, 10 motor vehicle accidents. February, we had 83 calls, 21 active standbys, 8 motor vehicle accidents, and 48 medical response. And we're paged out to everything. Every medical call, we're paged out.
Anybody else have anything?
It's thank goodness for people that takes it on themselves to volunteer. Without that, we would have nothing.
Correct. We got a great group of
We
men
appreciate
and women.
y'all doing that.
Anybody else? Chief, we appreciate your time, appreciate that report. Thank you for all that you do. And please relay that message to all the members out there that we appreciate everything that you guys do, gals. Unheralded and true heroes right there.
Thank you for the time.
Agenda item number 8 is a proclamation of the state of emergency that we were under due to the earthquake. And this is a termination of that proclamation. Whereas on August 9th, 2020 at 7 a.m., I determined and proclaimed the state of emergency for the town of Sparta due to the impacts of the 5.1 magnitude earthquake. I have determined that there is no longer any imminent threat, widespread damage, or loss of life and property, and therefore now terminate the above referenced state of emergency for the town of Sparta. This proclamation went into effect Tuesday, February 2nd at 2021 at 8 a.m. That's signed by the Allegheny County Emergency Management, Daniel Roten, and myself. So we are now no longer under the emergency state of emergency. However, if the need comes up, we can go back into that and start over again. In no way does this affect any funds that we have already received or going to receive for the earthquake from the state. So we are good to go. And if anything else comes up, to my knowledge, we can go right back into the state of emergency if we need to.
That's correct.
Finally, I'm going to turn it over to our town manager that has made it back after successful surgery, being out, and it's good to have him back in the seat. Ryan Wimmer, if you'll indulge us on the brunch bill ordinance request.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, included in your packet was a formal request from a couple of business owners inside the corporate limits. They did submit this in writing in lieu of attending the meeting to present this themselves for reasons for COVID. So they've relayed that back in 2017, state legislature passed provisions for cities and counties to allow alcohol sales beginning at 10 a.m. on Sunday versus 12 p.m. on Sunday, effectively known as the brunch bill. So they have expressed concern of potentially missed revenue and would request the town council consider an ordinance to allow that sale to begin at 10 a.m. on Sunday instead of 12. This does not change any kind of permitting rules by the ABC Commission. It simply allows those businesses to participate if they so choose. Just because the council allows that through ordinance, a business does not have to participate. So included in your packet is some legislation that authorizes that, as well as a ordinance should you choose to consider that tonight. With that, I'll be happy to answer questions as much as I know currently.
Brittany, have you looked at this one
Yeah,
on the up and up?
yeah.
So basically what we're looking at is just extending the time to sell alcohol for 2 hours.
Correct, on Sundays only.
Are you at liberty to say who requested or not, or if you don't?
The letters were in.
It's right here.
Oh, excuse me.
The letters are in there.
Okay, never mind.
And this has been requested a couple of times over my tenure here. I took some time to do some research locally to understand the legislation and what other communities are doing locally. It appears essentially everyone around us has capitalized on this economic capability. So we are certainly not first to the game by allowing this.
So just need a motion for this. Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
I make that motion. We go ahead and extend this 2 hours.
All right, motion and a second. Any further discussion? Show of hands on the brunch bill. 4, let's see,
I'm sorry.
5-0, okay. 5-0, that passes. Agenda item number 10 is Councilwoman Richardson has a thing about outsourcing of snow removal, and I'll turn the floor over to her.
She has a thing about it. We discussed at length last meeting, purchasing equipment and so forth, and we're seeming very hasty to say we need to buy something. My first question is, Ryan, if at some point, I would like to know how many towns around us actually use side-by-sides to push snow with. The side-by-side is basically a toy, and it's nice and it's neat and it's handy dandy, but when you start pushing much snow, it's gonna not go the distance, which that's another issue, but that's what brought this to the forefront. So I have talked to some of the folks who are pushing snow and doing snow removal in our community, and they seem very anxious to bid on this. From our perspective, we had 3-4 little minor snows, which were more or less inconveniences, but were very costly because we tore up what we had or it fell apart, and then we're trying to clean these sidewalks that are very large, and it takes a lot of shoveling and that sort of thing. So go back to the winter, this is winter of 2021, you go back to winter of 1920, we didn't have measurable snow. Wasn't a problem. You go back to the preceding winter of 1819, we had 2 feet in December, and then it rained the rest of the time. So snow removal is not a huge problem that we have to deal with every winter. And in light of that fact, and in light of the fact that we don't necessarily have the personnel, we don't have the equipment and so forth, I think it would be in the best interest of the taxpayers to reach out to these folks that would put in a bid, look at the bids, see what they can do. I know Michael Lyle, I mentioned this before, he jumped in and helped us when our equipment was disabled. It's just my opinion and being a good steward of the taxpayers' money that we should look at contracting this out, just like we contract out the mowing. Those people do it all the time. They've got the salt spreaders, they've got the trucks, they've got blades, they've got all these things that we may not need for 3 more winters. So I would like to make a motion that we suspend action on any purchase of any equipment until these bids come in. We can look at it, we can do some number crunching, we've got the budget coming up, but I do feel that it would be more cost effective to contract out for the snow removal. then our guys could go on doing the things they're doing and looking after the things they're looking after. And, so that's my pitch and that's my motion.
Ron, do we pay a lot of overtime when we have snow removal?
We can,
Or do we?
yes.
All right, we haven't done much the last few years, but how much do we normally do, or like this year, or this past one?
Fortunately for us, the snows have typically happened overnight and on the weekends. So I would say we've probably
It's not
20
been
hours.
enormous. It's not been enormous, you
Right.
know. It's just been, 3 pay periods that we've had to pay overtime on for the snow.
And we've tried to mitigate that by letting the guys go early after they've incurred that overtime. I think to Councilwoman Richardson's point, it would be a great budget opportunity to evaluate what contracting snow removal would do for us versus what we pay for maintenance and upkeep of equipment. I don't know that contracting sidewalks and parking lots are necessarily financially advantageous. We do have some equipment that can do some of that stuff. Until it just doesn't work, there's no need to scrap that and take it all away. So I think it would be a phased approach.
Remember, what you're basically asking for is to see if there are bids out there and what they would be
Right.
to handle the snow removal from the parking
Well-
lots.
Do they do sidewalks?
What you could do is set up your bid for
That would
A, B,
include.
right, well, you said you like phased in, that's fine. Well, as long as our truck's working, that you switch the thing off to, is, it may work for one more winter, it may not. So what I would say would be the most professional way to present it would be to say to these guys, all right, this is a 4-part bid. We got the streets, we got the sidewalks, we got the parking lots. Break it down. And some of them may say, yeah, I'll do A, B, and C. Some of them say, well, I can do A and B. But we just need to get a feel on how much it would cost to bid this out. They've got the equipment, they got the boards. They're ready to go.
Agreed.
Two concerns that I have. I'm sorry, go ahead, Terry.
Last meeting, didn't we vote to pass this?
Yes.
And has the stuff been ordered?
Correct.
It's
Yeah,
done been ordered.
correct. And
So-
payment has been
It's getting ready to go out.
So you're
We
going
don't
to
know about the equipment.
Yeah.
correct.
Well, I hope that I can get that stopped. I would like to know how many towns around us, as I said, use these. And I know they told you it's a great thing and it's a wonderful thing. But if you talk to these boys that are moving snow and you talk to people that run equipment, they're toys. They're really neat and they're really fun. But I don't.
That's not our purpose, is to do
Well, no,
those toys.
that's already done.
Our purpose is that we have to have the equipment to do it. And even if we contract out something, I think this is a point that needs to be made. If you contract something out, and let's just say that they break their equipment, who's gonna push it after that?
Well, they would be responsible for getting it pushed if they had to hire somebody else.
But are we gonna take that risk for our citizens to not have the snow removed if the contractor doesn't do it? Granted, we've got to be ready for it, in my opinion.
Well, they have to be ready. If they bid on the contract, they've got to be
You've got
ready.
a valid point, but I think it's too late.
It's not too late because we don't have the equipment we need if we have,
But we just bought the equipment.
We
well,
actually got something that, not the side by side, we normally say, we're gonna do the mowing too, this piece of machinery.
we've done mow what?
The Kraus Park around here and all the
With
more.
the side by side.
No, it ain't side by side.
This has multiple uses. This
Yeah.
has mower on it.
So what's it called?
It's a bin track. And to your point, and after a discovery of a potential piece of equipment we could use to pick up trash in the park and on Main Street and all that the police department has that doesn't get utilized frequently. And then talking to some professionals. Luckily for you, I don't know a lot, but I know how to listen to people. And they showed me a piece of equipment that is very versatile. It does have a lot of opportunity. It is more dependable. And to your point, it's not really a toy. So it is a bin track. And I think it was a good purchase because it offers more versatility for other areas outside of snow removal.
Okay, now, how many people ride in this?
One
One person,
person.
okay? What can they haul? What's the hauling capacity?
It's a 31 horsepower diesel tractor. So it's pretty substantial.
Okay, so
And it
it's,
comes with about 30 different attachments for the front and the rear. And to your point, I think we're in a very unique position. There's not a lot of mountain towns that have done a streetscape that made a $5.1 million investment, and we have to protect for the longevity. I think having the equipment to do it ourselves versus what other communities do of having the merchants take care of that themselves is probably a better investment on our part.
so this is a tractor,
Yes, ma'am.
okay?
I think you brought up some valid points, but I think it's kind of mute because we've already done this. I mean, it's already a done deal.
So, and the final price on this piece of equipment was,
32,000.
But the
With-
sale of the equipment that we just sold will go against it. And plus the part of the POW bill, we had two sets of funds, 3 sets of funds that we're gonna pull.
Yes.
so we can use power bill money to buy equipment
For snow removal, yes, sir. Yes,
for
sir.
snow removal.
Yes, ma'am, we can.
I'd like to see, it's talking about putting a bid on it, if you put a bid on something, they're gonna charge you if it snows or if it don't, But I'd like to have an opportunity there where if it come a lot of snow and we was overwhelmed, that we could call on somebody to help. Have that opportunity there where we could not exactly contract with somebody, but we could depend on them to help. And I don't know if that's something there that would be interested in doing or not, but I work down at the hospital in Elkin there, and that's what we do. We take care of our parking lots and our streets and everything, but we get overwhelmed there. We got some people comes in there to help. So maybe we can work out something with some of the
Right.
people that does that around here, in case we need them.
As we did this year. Cause that truck you put the salt spreader on and everything's not any spring chicken. So-
Nothing we own this.
Well, so I'll rescind my motion since the thing's already been bought, but I think I would make the motion that we at least reach out and get some figures for, to see what they would, if they would be interested, what they would charge to do it. And could we count on them for backup if we get into a situation where we need them? Because every so often we have bad snows.
Agree. I think it's the perfect time to consider that.
So I think it's just the consent of the council for you to do some research about getting a backup plan in case we have a huge emergency snow for that. But other than that, I think the equipment that we are getting and the equipment that we have currently is going to be sufficient for us to maintain the snow, right?
But
Or
I
any other-
just asked that he get some figures.
Yeah,
on-
That's what I'm saying. The consent is
Yeah,
to get some figures.
I mean, you're not gonna turn and give this thing back, you just bought it, I get that. So if you all are in agreement with that, that's great, I'll shut up. Because we firmly believe that snow season's
I don't
over.
think there's no need for a motion on that or nothing, so.
Understood.
What would it, It was in, March when we had the blizzard.
Well, we don't,
yet.
we don't remember that far back.
That was,
Well,
that
let's
was
just,
when we was overwhelmed.
let's just go on record with saying that when Daniel done his proclamation for termination of state of emergency, we had 2 earthquakes that day. So,
Well, we will have our new piece unless it snows.
right. Let's go right on in and go into our manager's report with our town manager, Ryan Willis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, also included in your packet was a request from Farmers Hardware, Ms. Marsha Wagner, for a refund of the garbage fees that she has been paying since that business went out in August 2018. It's for a total of $267 for that time period. And just for historical context, I did go back to look at what the town had done previously. We have only 2 instances that we have waived a garbage fee, and that was actually for residents or businesses that owned conjoining properties. So they owned 2 properties, had service at one, and we waived the other one. The only thing I will ask is if the council recognizes this request, that we formulate a policy going forward so that staff up front will know that this is allowable, not allowable, and it prevents confusion, and it prevents us having to come to the council and ask every time.
Our current
So-
policy is it's a bundle package, is that right? Sewer, water,
You got
and
water, you have to.
Mhm.
garbage.
That's
trash.
correct.
It's a convenience fee because if they don't, we have had this request before.
So why didn't she come cut off
She's
her?
just requesting the garbage, right?
We've had that request before, several times, just garbage. They don't want it. They take it to the dump. They don't want to pay for it. That would put us out.
She still got water service, so ain't she?
Mhm.
She does. Water and sewer is still
So we'd
active.
still be charging her for water and sewer.
Correct.
If you do it for one, you're gonna have to do it for everybody.
If we did that, then couldn't we put into our rules and regulations that they would have to notify us a little bit quicker?
So, is this just a business or is these people who are requesting?
And it affects our revenue.
All right, if they are in business, then they're gonna be paying this, am I correct?
Everybody, residential as
ordinance
well.
has to pay.
But
The
this is a
area-
business that is no longer in existence.
What I see it being a problem is if we did it, then any other business that has closed in the past few years will come to us
And
and
well,
want the same thing. And so then we go from $267 to thousands of dollars. That would be the only downfall I would see coming out of that.
I think Peggy and you and the staff upstairs, whenever somebody has left and requested, if they go away for a period of time and they request to
that's just
shut off,
water and sewer.
that's water and
That's just
sewer, right?
water and sewer.
But they still have to
Cuts
pay
off the
for.
garbage too, right?
Yes, it takes it, but they have to have their water and sewer cut
Cut off.
off.
Right.
It
And
has to be.
so they don't have to pay out any of the three.
They don't have to pay any of the 3.
Right.
That
long
was,
as they
that's
have
the
given
policy
you
that we've
those.
had in the past.
As long as they get water and
And
sewer, then
they
they pay
keep,
the garbage.
yes.
I think you're gonna have to continue on like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if
That's
you-
kind of
yeah,
part of
it's
the
too many
package.
variables if you don't.
You haven't taken any actions to stay the same though.
Yeah.
Yes, she has formally requested it, so we need a motion to accept or deny.
I'll make a motion there that we go ahead and and keep it like it is.
So a motion to
You got-
deny the request.
The motion to deny the request, and, you know, as long as you're paying water and sewer there, and that's part of the package. If you live in town.
So I have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? Show of hands in favor of that motion. 4, and those against? 1.
All right, council also, to circle back to a conversation last month, the cardboard disposition charges, unfortunately, that, meeting happened on, the 2nd of February, and then the preceding day, I was out for a couple weeks, so our contractor did incur, some cardboard disposition charges. Since I've returned, he and I have had the conversation and have formulated a plan of action for cardboard until the county and the town can identify a long-term solution. So the plan we have in place, we feel will end the charges to the town. So he has requested that we cover the charges that he experienced in February.
But there won't be any more.
Should not be.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? Show of hands to do those, and that's 5-0.
I've been thinking about these cardboard dumpsters and how, you know, we want them to co-mingle. Is there any way to lock them things? And just leave them where they're at?
I think that's a contractor question. Because a lot of the businesses have expressed wanting that off their property if they're not using it. So,
I mean, I understand. I just had a thought.
yeah.
If they force them to co-mingle, and, well, it solves the problem too.
Legally, can we do that?
What's that?
Forcing?
I don't think we have any
That's
option.
interpretation.
I mean, it's, if the county's not recycling, we have no option of,
Well,
we gotta do
Have to pass an
something.
ordinance or something, wouldn't it?
Can we not put them in that parking lot across
I mean, there's usually
18
two.
over till it gets ready to get
Take one
paid?
away, then there's no choice.
So,
Terry has a point. He's like
Can we put them in that parking lot across 18
Evergreen Park.
till they get ready to pave these extra dumpsters?
If it will ever stop raining, they have a goal of paving this month.
Oh, okay.
Now, depending on what happens potentially, but
How much room are we talking about taking?
it's about 33 dumpsters, ranging between 4 to 6 yards. So,
Think about that a little bit. You can stack them.
yeah, well, yeah. And I think in time, with my conversation with the county manager, I think we're working toward a long-term goal, and hopefully, if everything goes to plan and grant funding comes through and we can formulate a partnership, maybe the dumpsters don't have to move. If everybody can be a little patient, it works out.
Okay, just, I vote on patience.
Yeah, agree. So, council, just to update you on the grant for the charger, that is going to be installed on the Main Street parking lot. Blue Ridge, advised, earlier last week that we actually, were awarded that grant. So they are in the process of procuring the charging station. We've identified the location that it needs to go. and they have actually subcontract all that work out. They anticipate by summer, and that was as close as we can get with some of the components and the labor to get that installed. So I will update you as Blue Ridge passes that along, but we were successful in getting that.
I don't know what the possibility of applying for a grant, put some over in this new park lot.
We can look at those opportunities. They're out there.
It'd be a good time to put that in. You know, it's been mandated that they wanna, over another 10, 15 years is gonna be all electric cars. It might be a good time to put some more of them in.
I think we're ahead of the curve. Yeah, I was surprised.
I could charge my Tesla now.
Put your golf cart in there.
All right. I will certainly look for some opportunity.
Yeah, you know, if there's another opportunity there, you know, the parking lot over here would be a good location for some more.
Excellent. Last item under my, second to last, just a reminder for the council and the public, we will have work sessions solely for budgetary purposes, March 15th and the 22nd, anticipated here from 5 to 7 p.m.
What day of the week is that?
Mondays. So, and then
Will this be completed? If we have it here?
should be. So, and then the last thing I have, Mr. Mayor, is the Sparta First Baptist Church is doing a crosswalk on April 2nd at 11 a.m., starting at Sparta Elementary, coming down Main Street to the First Baptist Church. Chief Lane and his staff are going to provide protection for that. We shouldn't have to close traffic. It may just be a small traffic jam in Sparta during that time. So, other than that, that's all I have.
Do we need to go permission for that or just?
Certainly, it doesn't require a road closure, but if you want to take action.
Yeah, I'll make some motion we allow that.
Sorry.
Have a motion to allow the crosswalk. Second?
I'll second.
Have a second. All in favor, show of hands. 5-0 on allowing the crosswalk.
It'd be nice to see some people on the street.
We'll go into agenda item number 12, and Ryan, you had some other business that you wanted to bring up there, the bid for personal property.
I did. Council, my apologies for inadvertently leaving this off as an action item, but at your last meeting, you authorized the acceptance of sealed bids for the 2002 GMC 2500 that served as a salt truck. We accepted those sealed bids until 3 p.m. today. We then opened them. We received a total of 3 bids. The highest bidder was Travis Ham at a bid of $800. The council does not have to accept that bid. In looking at a fair market value, that's pretty desirable considering the shape it's in. And I would recommend that we award this bid. With that, I'll answer any questions.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion by Mary and a second by Terry. Or Colton, or, well, either one. Show of hands in favor of that. So, 5-0 on that.
I think we're lucky to get that good a bid.
We'll see that in the demolition derby, I'm sure.
Not a piece of equipment you should say.
If you all will look at under other business too, this is what I have. If you'll look at your finance sheets and go over that, if you have any questions, now would be a good time to ask Peggy. Peggy, where do we stand on our tax collections?
I haven't received February's.
From the county, right? Okay, so we haven't received our tax collections from the county?
That's normal, right?
Mm-mm.
No. So if anybody has any questions for her, I'll entertain that. If not, I just want to remind everyone that there is an earthquake relief fund that the county or the town, neither one is in conjunction with that. But however, there is a fund that is set up to help our citizens here in the town and the county. And if you have had earthquake damage and you are still fighting it, so to speak, you need to go see Daniel Roten at the Emergency Management Office. There's forms that you can fill out for aid and help, and there's a fund that's set up to help our citizens. Don't be ashamed to go fill out a form to get some help. That's what the people donated their hard-earned money for, is to help each other. So I encourage everyone that has been affected by the quake to go do that. On a other note, I would encourage each and every one of us to check on our neighbors here in town. I don't want to go into great detail, but I think that if you check on your neighbors every once in a while, it will be greatly appreciated. We have a lot of elderly folk in our little town and in our community. It's a shame that some folks live a hushed life and don't come out of their house because of this COVID, but it wouldn't hurt just to pick up the phone and give them a call just to say, hey, how you doing? And I want to encourage each and every one of you to do that, because you never know when something terrible might happen to somebody is staying in a house and nobody's checked on them for a while. It's not a pretty sight. With that in mind, is there anybody else that has any other business that they wanted to bring up? I don't think anybody had anything, so I'll open the floor up for public comment. This is an open opportunity for anybody to comment on anything that's been said here tonight or going forward. All right.
Can I make a comment back for the chamber?
Okay.
Just want to encourage you all to use the chamber as a way to get the word out about any activities that you have going on. The Earthquake Fund, if you have something you want us to put out in our briefing, on our Facebook page, anything you want us to share, any events that you have going on, let us know. That briefing goes out to about 1,300 people. I mean, it's a huge number of people. We can put it on our Facebook, our Instagram. We want to partner with you all on those types of things. We want to be involved in what you have going on. And I think it's important for the community to see us working together ongoing, especially as we move into this, all the activities we have coming for this new organization. So just a reminder, we're here for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate that. We'll move on down to council member comments, and I'll start with Councilwoman Lily Richardson, if she has anything.
I think I've taken everybody's time already.
Correct.
Nope, I'm good.
I'm good.
How did their smoke test go, Ryan?
To our surprise, it was better than anticipated. We did identify several areas that will be evaluated by the engineer. The engineer will actually look at the pictures, the video that was taken. He will then kind of do his wizardry and come up with a plan of action, and then we'll present that to the state budget folks.
Well, I noticed I had a little green flag sticking down in front of my yard. So I didn't know if that was good or bad.
That's probably a good indication you got a little sewer damage.
You've just been flagged. Anybody else get flags? Nope. I got a flag.
Moving on. Is that all you got, Mike?
Oh, yes, that's it.
Terry, you have anything?
I'm good.
With that being said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
I have a motion by Terry McGrady and a second by Cole Edwards. All in favor, show of hands. 5-0 to adjourn. Thank you. Till next month.